Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be doing some word problems where we write our equation using the rate of change and the initial value, and then we're going to do some calculations to figure some different things out. So grab your paper. The first one we're going to do is number 1. It says you are visiting Baltimore, Maryland, and a taxi company charges a flat fee of $3 for using the taxi and 75 cents per mile. So notice here that the word per, that's a pretty big clue that that is going to be your rate of change. Remember, when you see the word per, that number is the rate of change. So A says write an equation that you could use to find the cost of a taxi ride in Baltimore, Maryland. Let X represent the number of miles and Y represents the total cost. So that part is just defining our variables for us. So X, the variable X in this equation is going to represent the number of miles, and Y in the equation is representing the total cost. And I'll explain more about that in a second after we write our equation. So the form that we use for our equation is Y equals blank X plus blank. And remember, the first blank where the X is connected, you put the rate of change and then the initial value. So, like I said before, the word per in this word problem gives us a clue that that is our rate of change. Our rate of change is 75 cents, so 0.75. So we write 0.75x plus the initial value, which is $3. So the initial value is just something that is either a one-time fee or like an amount that you start with. It's not a rate of change. It's not something that is going to be, adding up over and over every month or every year. It's just like a one-time fee in this problem. So your equation is y equals 0.75x plus 3. So now we're going to figure out for B how much a taxi ride would cost for 8 miles. So let's go back to where they were telling us what the variables stood for. So it said, remember, let X represent the number of miles and Y represents the total cost. So since Y represents the total cost, this equation means the total cost, or Y, equals 75 cents times the number of miles, which is X, so 75 cents times the number of miles, plus the $3 flat fee. So we could figure out how much a ride would cost for any number of miles using this equation, like this. So the total cost, Y, equals 75 cents times the number of miles. Now here they're asking about 8 miles. So 75 cents 8 times plus the $3. Okay, that was the initial fee. Let me grab my calculator. And we'll do 75 cents times 8 plus $3. And that's $9. So the total cost for an 8-mile ride is $8. Oh, sorry, $9. $9. Okay? So that is the answer for B, $9. For C, I told you guys you could do this one as a bonus. So it says, if a taxi ride costs $15, how many miles did the taxi travel? So for the last one, since it said 8 miles, we used 8 for X because X is the number of miles. Here, they're giving us a total amount. So we're going to use this total amount in the equation, but we're going to use it for Y this time, and we're going to solve for X. So it would be $15, because remember that's the total cost, equals 0.75x plus $3. And we are going to solve this like an equation. So remember, you have a variable term here and then your constants. So subtract 3 using the inverse operation. 15 minus 3 is 12. And you divide by 0.75. $16 miles. So x equals 16. That means that, so if the taxi ride was $15, so we put our total here, the number we got when we solved for x was 16. So remember, x is the number of miles, so that is 16 miles. That's how much a $15 ride would cost. Okay, that was for a bonus. Now let's do number 2. A plumber charges $50 to make a house call. Then he also charges $25 per hour. There's that word again. $25 per hour for labor. So write an equation that you could use to the amount a plumber charges for a house call based on the number of hours of labor. Okay, so we're using the same form. Y equals blank x plus blank. Our rate of change goes with the x and then our initial value. So for this one, it's $25 per hour, so that's how much each hour. It's going to add up $25 each hour that he's working. So that one is the rate of change. That's the number that is changing based on how many hours the plumber works. So it's 25x, $25. And then $50 is like the upfront charge that he charges you that just to come to the house. So he only charges you the $50 once. It's not like a recurring rate. It's just a $50 like a one-time thing. So that is your initial value. You're going to be paying him $50 before he even starts working on the house or on the toilet or the bath or whatever. So it's y equals 25x plus 50. Okay, 25 is the rate of change. B says, how much would it cost for a house call that requires 2.5 hours of labor? So we're going to use our equation again. Y equals 25x plus 50. Okay, remember, it's $25 per hour. So x, let's define our variables. X is going to be the number of hours. Okay, x is the hours. Y is going to be how much the cost will be. Okay, because it's going to be $25 times however many hours plus the $50 fee. So for this one, it's 2.5 hours. So we're going to use 2.5. So the total cost, y, is equal to $25 times the number of hours the plumber works. So in this scenario, 2.5 hours, plus the $50 fee. So we're just going to put that in the calculator. 25 times 2.5 plus 50. And that's 112.5. Okay, so 112.5, and then y is the total cost, so it's $112.5 or $112.50. That's how much it would cost for 2.5 hours of labor. It's a lot. Plumbers are expensive and they make a lot of money. Okay, let's do C. That was a bonus. So it says, if the bill from the plumber is $162.50, how many hours did the plumber work at the house? So if they're asking us how many hours, they're asking us to find x, because x is the number of hours. Y is the total cost, and the total cost was $162.50. So we're going to go back to our equation. Y equals 25x plus 50. And we're not going to use 162.50 for x here, because x is supposed to be hours. This number is the total bill, so we're going to use that for y in this scenario. So I'm going to do 162.50 equals 25x plus 50, and we're going to solve for x again. So constant, constant, variable. I'm going to put my circles together, so use the inverse operation and subtract 50. $162.50 minus $50, or 50, is 112.5. And then divide by 25. I'm running out of room. But I got 4.5. So since I got 4.5 for x, and x is the number of hours that he worked, it's 4.5 hours for this one. That's how long he worked if the bill was $162.50. So pretty easy. Now I know I told you guys in class to do number 5, but I'm going to ixnay that. We're not going to do number 5, okay? It's just like got some things in it that are just unnecessary for us to do right now. So tomorrow we're going to do number 4 in class, and then we'll be good to go. So don't worry about number 5. Enjoy the free time that you get instead of doing number 5. So just have number 1 and 2 tomorrow. All right? See y'all then.